All right, so now we'll talk about the types, of the data. The first thing, anything you see in a computer, whether it's an image, text, website, portal, or your application, everything is data, right? You can consider everything as a data that is in a computer. Whatever is in a digital form is a data. But there are different type of the data, and generally, uh, if you don't have any background of the data programming or the computer science, computer basically understand the data in form of the binary. So whatever you see there is bus 0 and 1. So there are a lot more logic and the science behind it, how it understand your picture, image, video, and all that things. So cut that thing short. I mean, if you see that the whatever you see as a information or as a data, they categorize in a different types, and generally you can see like the if you're talking about numbers, it's number, integer, or you can call it whatever decimals, depending on that what kind of the number it is. And then you can call it the string or varchar, that's the like of the alphabetical value that you have it. And then you have a broadly the date and time to capture the any time series or any date in terms of the calendar year or times. So, and top of that, these are the other set of the data. You can see like they call it the binary large file, blob files. So any image, video, and all these things, it can be categorized as the binary large files, because neither they are a string nor integer, not a date and time. So they consider as the binary large file, blob files. So whether it's your Excel file, Word document, your picture, JPG, or bitmap, doesn't matter. They all are the binary large file that you can use and process it in a computer system. So here I'm talking about more in terms of the types, that when you work on the any warehouse project or any BI project, what kind of the set of the data that you process and you need to handle. I mean, broadly, it's from the long time and it's going to be remain for long time kind of things. Broadly, you can find the three types. The one is a structured data, one is the semi-structured data, and the third one is the unstructured data. So what does it mean by structured data? Structured data, generally any data that will be called the structured data if you have a control and checks for the data, what you are entering, what you are reading. Like if I'm entering an age and it could be number only, so and it is integer or anything, then it's called the structured data. So your system need to support whatever the information you are putting in application is checked and placed. So generally structured data referred as the relational database also, because when you create a relational database, it's quite popular and it's very widely used. And there are different vendors for relational database. Oracle is there, IBM is there, Microsoft is there. They provide the product to store your data that is in a relational by nature. So when you use that, basically, if you want to, for example, this I wanted to store the member information and I need name, age, and the join date. So basically your value is the name, age, and join date. But before storing that, you are defining the column and its type, what kind of the data you wanted to store. The one big thing relational database will help you out, it will not let you enter any other different kind of the data on that particular column. So it makes sure like that you are putting the right data with the right data type, and it helps a lot in terms of the getting the performance query and a lot more things. So all the application works on top of the relational database. So in this example, as you see, id is a integer value, the name is the varchar. This is varchar means a string, you can store any name and alphanumeric value in this. And then age, your integer, there are different range of the integer that you can define based on your need. And then your join date. So when you create a database or table or define a data table, it's very important to pick the right data type, and it's helpful in a many ways. So so that's why it's called the structured data, because you have given the structure, what kind of the data you want to store and what kind of the data can be processed on that particular column, right? So in a age you cannot enter ABC, it will not accept because it's just integer. In a join date you cannot put 1 2 3, it it must be a date, right? So that sets some boundary, and that's why it's called the structure. It's more cleaner form to process and access. When you move for the semi structure, as you see, like something would be reduced in terms of the quality of the data, in terms of the control and checks more about that. So Excel is the right example of the semi structure. Some of the bank generated statement comes into txt and dat files that are the semi structure, and the reason for they call the semi structure because they do have the value that you are saying and processing, but they don't have control what kind of the data can go there, right? So that's the one reason they are called the semi structure. For in this example, if you see one data sample, I have a name, age, and join date, and I have given pretty much the same value. I mean, 34 age and the join date, the 1st January 2018 is the date, right? But there is no any definition of that. That's why it's called the semi structure, right? If you want, you can put anything. It will not stop you. Like, why you cannot put that, right? So it's the system or the user who is working on that is responsible to make sure you are putting the right value into right column. uh, so that's the reason it's called the semi structure. It still is contains the format like the name, age, and join date. You have a three column, you can put the three values, but what is missing in this is the check and control. So that's why it's called the semi structure. Now, if you move on to the third and the last kind of the data source that you process and you can find in the unstructured data. Why it's called the unstructured data? Because there is no any pattern or definition that you can find in this. Like if you are working on the Facebook comment or you are writing on the Amazon or Twitter. Twitter is the right example. When whatever you reply on the Twitter, there is no any fixed structure. You can send picture, you can send comment, you can write anything, right? So it's very hard to understand and process the unstructured data. But from last quite good time and years, the unstructured data has been boomed, and there are a lot more valuable information are available in those unstructured data. And Twitter, I said it, and Amazon comments, I said it because they are quite relevant. You can connect it, but unstructured data could be your image, your video file, your word file, your PDF file. All those kind of the data, all the blob data is also called part comes in the unstructured category because there is no any format defined, there is no any rule, there is no any constraint how you should write the Twitter and what kind of the value you can put it over there. And same true for the Word document and PDF. And why it is very important nowadays, because like if you see that the big data concept, or if you have ever heard about the big data, I mean, these kind of the data are very crucial for business nowadays, like the what's going on the Twitter, how your sentiment is moving, and what exactly the people are talking about your product on your e-commerce site. So these, it's very important for business to understand what exactly is going on, and nowadays or ever it's not possible to someone to read and then analyze like the what is going on. There are so many technologies are coming and they are in a place who can understand this these unstructured data and they can process it. The other things is also creating a lot volume of the unstructured data and making it very important for any business, like kind of the sensors and the devices that are generating data and communicating with your application and the system, whether it's a Fitbit data or whether it's a your home security system data or any sort of the device that is producing the data and connecting to your system. The processing of those data is very important. So they generate tons and tons of the data, millions and millions of record, because you know understand, like I mean if you're running on the Fitbit, it counts like the how many steps you have capture and run. So all those information, I mean these IoT devices or kind of the this kind of the platform are generating this kind of the data. I mean, if you talk about 20 years back, no one will think of that unstructured data can be that much important. So nowadays tools are also available to process that. So broadly, I mean, if you're working on any data or BI project, you will encounter yourself to process these three kind of the data: structured data that has the definitions and that has the data along with that; semi-structured data that has data but there is no definition, like the Excel textbook text and dat file; and unstructured data that has nothing in terms of the structure and the and the value definitely is contains the value, but there is no any predefined types in a structure. So nowadays we can process all these three kind of the data, and we can have our business intelligence and visuals ready for our use.